This week on the podcast, the Xbox One X has launched. I got one, and we'll talk about our impression of the hardware and the games.
And while somebody played their new fancy Xbox One X, I played my regular old Xbox One, but managed to get a early access look at Battlefront 2's single-player campaign. Ha! Suck it!
You know, I played that too. It looks awesome on my new Xbox One X 4K TV with HDR.
I hate you so much right now. My left eye is twitching. Cue the music.
Greetings, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Silent Majority Gamers podcast. This is episode number 12. I'm Limey Geek.
And I'm Unshaven Matt. It's like Insomniac Matt with like 9% more facial hair.
Okay, all right, we'll go with it. So this week saw the release of the Xbox One X console. Got lots to talk about with that. But first, let's just start with the games that we've been playing this week. And beginning with Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yep, so I got the early access to that, and I started playing the campaign. And, I mean, a couple of things to note right off the bat. It is gorgeous. I mean, unbelievable looking. Really, I can't stress that enough. What they've done with this is just phenomenal, nothing short of. So, I started off the campaign, and so far so great. You play from the Imperial side, which I thought was very interesting. Side note, I feel really bad shooting rebels in the face. I don't know what it is. Something's a little off about that.
They ease you into it a little bit.
They do,
right? You start with sort of non-lethal takedowns, and your droid has this shock ability to knock them out. But it fairly quickly progresses to you shooting rebels in the face.
Yeah, face murder.
Yeah, and it's a little, it's a little disconcerting at first.
It is, but I mean, the gameplay is solid. It runs super smooth, and so far the story's pretty cool. I haven't gotten too far with it. Again, I just got the early access, so about 3-4 hours in, nothing huge or anything like that. But yeah, so far so good. Going through the different planets that we all know and love, and getting to fly TIE Fighter is always fun. You mentioned the robot or the droid that she has, and what's really cool is when it attaches to her back like a backpack. Yeah. So it's with you at all times. You use it to splice or hack doors or or shock people with electricity, not shock them. Like, I'm not wearing pants. That's a shock. Anyways, but I really like how the droid comes off the back and then sits back there. I don't know. It's just little things. I kind of like that stuff.
Yeah, I like the premise that you are an Imperial Special Ops agent. So you've got gadgets and abilities, and that sort of one person against an army of rebels type idea. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Has some fun. I haven't gotten too far with it yet, but what I have played is very promising so far.
Yeah, and I find that, speaking of the gadgets and abilities, even after 2 levels, they're throwing abilities at you like crazy. So you can switch things out. You have a grenade or a very powerful sniper rifle you can use. There's a scan that kind of scans the entire area, kind of like a UAV, sort of thing, which, really, really neat. A lot of choice for your abilities, and quite a lot of choice for weapons as well, surprisingly. Now, I did find a few of them kind of felt similar, because they're all lasers, and a few of them have like zooms, right? So you can have like a scope on a couple of them. Yeah. But yeah, good variety. Plays really smoothly. Really like it. So far, so good. I want to see how far I can get with that campaign on the early access trial. I'm hoping to play straight through it and beat it. So
yeah, the trial gets you 10 hours.
10 hours.
And I did play a little bit, just like a round and a half of multiplayer as well, just to try it out. And ended up on a map that wasn't in the beta. Where you start off on a rebel ship. It's part of you're crashed into or docked at the Death Star 2. So you start in the rebel ship and then you make your way onto the Death Star.
Nice.
But in the rebel ship, it's all the white corridors with the square paneling, just like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And man, you really feel like you're in the Star Wars universe and there, right? And again, just looks amazing. Yeah. Looks gorgeous.
Well, I like that because with the campaign, right, you're kind of playing the entire almost 2 trilogies now, if we pretend the previous ones, the prequels didn't exist. But you're kind of playing through those at least 4 movies that are out soon to be 5. Because at the start it's pre-Death Star 2, and then the next level you're on Endor, and the Death Star 2 blows up, and you're playing this character that's kind of behind the scenes on all the things that are going on throughout the trilogy, which I thought was really neat.
The story is sort of running parallel to the movies, right? How good does Endor look?
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. I did sit and stare for quite a bit. There's a waterfall in it that I thought was really nice until I got shot in the face. But I stopped to smell roses on that game. You have to. I mean, it's phenomenal looking.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And another game we got a fair bit of time with this week was Call of Duty World War II. Mm-hmm. It was actually released last week, but we'd only been able to play it a little bit, and of course there were some server problems which delayed things in 2 as well. But this week got to play a lot more, and continuing to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I'm digging it. I have mentioned previously I'm a big fan of the era. I like the weapons. They all feel very authentic, very cool. Love the sound. The sound is amazing in this one, I think. Mm-hmm. We were talking the other night. The footsteps in the game seem to be probably the loudest footsteps they've done in a Call of Duty game. But with the 5.1 headset that I'm using, you can really tell where people are coming from if they're running, right? And what surface they're running on too. So I'm out in the road and I hear somebody running on wood. I know it's not to my left because that's more road. So I turn to the right, and sure enough, some guy comes around the corner. I get to shoot him. So yeah, really cool. Using the sound a lot more in this one than I have in the previous ones.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because like you said, those footsteps are they're loud when someone's running.
Yeah,
but not at other.
Yeah, I mean, you can walk around and crouch, right? So, I mean, it's not...
Yeah, there's more strategy to it. I like it because that's, like you, playing with a headset, that's something I appreciate, is being able to use those audio cues for knowing where enemies are and that kind of stuff.
Well, you figure in real life, if you're standing there looking down a hallway, you would hear a 210, 240-pound... Marine wearing like 30 pounds of backpack and armory coming up behind you.
Yep.
You'd think you would hear that, right?
Yep.
So I do like that.
Yeah, and it's, we've been able to play a lot more of the maps over. Now, what I have found this year, contrary to you, I am not a big fan of the sort of World War II era and the weapons and stuff of that time. And that was a criticism I had of the beta. But this game has just hooked me more than any Call of Duty since, I think, like Black Ops 2.
Yeah, wow.
I am just loving this. It's something this week just sort of clicked with me with this game, and I'm totally hooked and totally in love with the multiplayer. Just having so much fun with it. All the different progression mechanics and the different weapons, and the maps are beautiful. So just really in love with this one. Have you played any more of the campaign? I haven't had a chance to go back to the campaign yet. I want to go back and do it.
It's been all multiplayer. It's been all multiplayer. What I'm really liking about the multiplayer is that the different types of prestiging you can do, right? Mm-hmm. So you can prestige your division, your gun, your character.
Yep.
And I love that because I've always found, for me, right, so the level cap is 55, and then you prestige and you go back and unlock a few fancy things and then go back up it again. And I've always found that grind of like level 45 up to 55 been very painful. But now I can prestige a weapon or two in between that, gain some XP again for the same things, and unlock their attachments again. And I really appreciate that. It gives me goals to do while I'm at that high level trying to grind through that XP.
Right.
So I find that's super helpful. I'm really liking it. Although some of us have not reached 55 yet, but some of us...
I'm there. I'm at 55, yes.
Is ready to prestige
I'm
already.
almost ready to go through first prestige, which is pretty cool. Well, they did double XP for the past weekend, which really helped. And the supply crates that you get, I picked up some XP boosts in there as well, so that's helped.
And it helps that you're above average in the game as well.
I'm okay with this one. Yeah, it depends.
You're so humble.
I'm inconsistent. I'll have some bad rounds, but I'll have rounds where at least my KD is positive, right? I mean, I'm above average. I think currently I've clawed my KD back to like 0.92 or something like that. If I can get it over 1, I'll be really, really happy.
Oh, yeah.
But I find the game is just so much fun. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it as much.
I had a few rounds where I forgot to check the score.
Yeah.
Or at least my KD, because it was just such a fun round. Right. I'm like, oh crap, how did I even do? Does it even matter really?
Right.
I mean,
and that's what tells you that it's a good, enjoyable game. When you get,
you're not so obsessed over your kill death. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool.
One thing I noticed now that we've gone through and played each of the maps several times, they seem a little smaller than other Call of Duty maps. Do they not?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe there's more smaller maps. I mean, you've got Gustav Cannon, that's a larger one, but yeah, they don't have as many. Yeah, I guess they don't have as many large scale maps. They do tend to be a little smaller. I mean, that may be by design as well, because you've got the boots on the ground type stuff. You're not a super soldier. You're not
jetpacking
everywhere. Yeah, so it is a slower paced game. Yeah. So I think that plays to the smaller map a little more. Now
that's not to say you can't snipe or it's not beneficial.
Oh
to
no,
snipe,
absolutely.
Because there are several maps now that I'm sniping on, which I'm really enjoying. I was never a big sniper guy. I was always the run and gun dude. And it's funny, what turned me off sniping originally was the very first one they brought out for online, Modern Warfare.
Okay.
And when Modern Warfare Remaster came out, and I had nothing left to do but level up the sniper rifles before I could prestige, I all of a sudden fell into it and started sniping really well. So the same game that kind of turned me off sniping put me right back on it, and shockingly, I've done quite well, in my opinion, sniping in this one. So. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's another thing for me that I had in the earlier Call of Duties. I would use sniper rifles. The more recent ones, I just couldn't hit anything with them, and I just avoided them. This one, World War II, I'm using the sniper rifles. I'm able to do pretty well with them, and they're enjoyable. So again, another part of the game that just lends itself to me having a great time with it, and just I can see myself playing this one quite a bit. You talked about the maps, them being smaller. I think, though, they've done two things. A very good job of making each map different and unique.
Yes.
They are very different areas and layouts, and the sound that you said, like each map has its own sound as well, right? There's one where you're on a flak tower, you've got flak cannons going off, and then you've got the one in the forest that's it's quieter. So there's different, great variety in the maps, and even the smaller maps, I think they've done a good job of having wide open areas for sniping and close quarters areas. Like, I think every map has a mixture of both.
Yeah.
So you really can take any weapon on any map, although I tend to gravitate towards certain weapons on certain maps, or my preference. But you really could take any weapon on any map, because you've got areas where you can use anything.
Yeah, and the key thing that we always say, right, when we're playing is play to your weapon strength. So if you can absolutely take any weapon you want on almost any map. But if you're going to take the submachine gun, stick to the closer quarters areas. Right. If you're taking the sniper, don't go inside buildings unless you're looking for a window to snipe out of, sort of thing. Right. And I find that it plays a lot heavier in this one than previous ones.
But overall, great game. Really enjoying it. Highly recommended if you're a Call of Duty fan at all.
Yeah, big time. Agreed.
So this week saw the release of Microsoft's newest console, the Xbox One X, and oh boy, what a console it is. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend you check out our unboxing video that we did this week. Kind of went to town on that guy. It was pretty cool. Almost lost a console, but it's all good.
Favorite unboxing video so far, for sure. For sure.
So for those that don't know, what is the Xbox One X? It is the latest in the Xbox One family. It is a premium console. Yes. So this is not like a new console generation where you're supposed to throw away your old console and get the new one. This is an upgraded device that is in the same family. It plays all the same Xbox One games, uses all the same accessories, but it's really designed for those people that want that higher level experience, that premium experience. I kind of liken it to the Elite controller that they put out last year. Great controller, very expensive, very premium. It's not for everyone. It's not to replace the regular controller, but for those that want that premium experience and want to pay for that, it's available for you. And this is the same deal.
Right, and we were saying it's almost like likens to a PC gamer who wants to double his RAM or buy a 1080i video card, right? You're improving your hardware of what you have currently. It's not like that is going to play anything different than what you already have in your library. It's just going to make it that much crisper.
Right. So the X has a faster CPU, slightly faster CPU. It has a much faster graphics card built in, and more RAM. So yeah, overall it's going to play the same games, but it just is going to play them better.
Way better.
The console itself is small. I mean, it's basically the same size as the Xbox One S, significantly smaller than the original Xbox One.
Yes. Has the power supply inside the box. So
yes,
there's no
which
huge
they've done.
brick
Yeah,
that you
there's
have
no
to...
brick. It is, but it's heavy. I saw this in other reviews as well, and it's solid. Like, it's a solid piece of kit, and when you consider what they've really squeezed into here, I mean, it technically speaking, it's a fantastic device.
Yeah. For
the amount of power, and by power I mean performance, that they've put into such a small box that stays cool, runs quiet. It's a marvel of engineering. They really have done such an awesome job. I watched Albert Pinello from the Xbox team, one of the marketing guys from the Xbox team, was on IGN's podcast talking about this, and he said basically, the hardware team with this wanted to sort of show off a little bit and show what they could do, and they really have.
Yeah.
To produce this much console in such a small package, it's fantastic.
It's funny you mentioned quiet, right? Because towards the, I've had my Xbox One for a while, and it's gotten sometimes to a point where, if it's been on all day, I go to boot up a new game, that fan kicks in, and sometimes I feel like it looks like a jet engine fan. We are now cruising at 10,000 feet with your Xbox. Right, but the Xbox One X, on the other hand, super quiet.
Yeah, I found my original Xbox would get noisy with the fan occasionally. The X, I'm going to say it's pretty much the same as the S, which I also have. Both of them are quiet, although the S... What?
Keep going.
I like my gaming consoles, what can I say? I'm a big Xbox fan. So yeah, but it's very, very quiet. No issues there. Again, when you consider how much performance this thing has got under the hood, they designed basically a liquid cooling system for the X in order to make it run cool, and you don't need that large fan on there. So again, just the awesome engineering they've put into this thing to make it work, and it shows. It's great. Fantastic.
So we love the hardware, and that's all fancy pants. What about games?
Well, the games we went through and we tried a few of them. Just try them out. Of course, you get the console, we're gonna throw it in and check some stuff out. So one of the first games I tried was Shadow of War, which I'm still playing through. And I'd said before, even on the regular Xbox One, the game looks great, very, very sharp and very crisp. I was very impressed with the graphics. But man, on the X, everything is just turned up a notch.
Yeah.
Like, the clarity is just amazing. I'm running it on a 4K HDR TV, and man, you really notice the difference. I wasn't sure how much difference I would notice, but I do very much notice a big difference in how much more detail there is on the textures and how clean and crisp everything is. And of course, it runs silky smooth as well. So that's one game that really shows it off. Also, the lighting. Now, I had an Xbox One S, which also supports HDR, which is the better, more dynamic lighting with more range. And the game already took advantage of that on the S. On the X, somehow the lighting... excuse me. On the X, somehow the lighting is even better. I don't know why. It's almost like the HDR output is better on the X than it was even on the S. I don't know how or why, but the picture just looks gorgeous. Yeah, it really does. I threw in Forza, the Forza 7 demo, because you have to try that. That's Microsoft's sort of flagship game that they've done for Xbox One X. And yeah, just silky smooth. the feeling of speed with that game is just so incredible. The way they've really captured what it feels like to race around those tracks, and the car models are fantastic. The dynamic lighting and the weather, everything looks great. So crisp on the X, and of course also been playing Call of Duty.
Right.
Now I was actually surprised. Call of Duty was not one of the games they really touted as being enhanced, but it did receive a patch to enable upgrades for the Xbox One X, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
I am really impressed with it. It's probably helping my enjoyment of the game as well. But just how crisp everything looks. Again, the amount of detail. The one map, Gustav Cannon, that we were talking about, it's an outdoor map. It's snowing. It looks absolutely beautiful. I really liken the whole experience with the X to playing on a high-end PC. It's really what it feels like. It's playing on a PC with the detail level maxed out. Yeah. That's kind of the experience you're getting. Very, very cool with Call of Duty. Battlefront 2, again, I mean, that game looks amazing anyway.
Already, yeah.
So the difference between regular Xbox One and X is probably not as great with Battlefront because it already looks fantastic. But again, everything just gets a little bit cleaner and a little bit crisper on the X. I tried Need for Speed real quick as well, just not as dramatic a difference, but again, crisp, clean looking.
The HDR really makes a difference.
The HDR lighting, does makes almost as much difference as the resolution. In fact, I'm not sure the resolution is as big a deal as the more detailed textures, which is a function of resolution as well, but just the more detail in. Like with Shadow of War, there are two settings for the game. There's a performance mode or resolution mode where it locks it to 4K resolution, but it will reduce some of the graphical effects in order to maintain 4K. And then there's a quality mode where it turns on all the bells and whistles for the graphics, but the resolution may scale down from 4K at times. And that's the mode I've got it on. It's the quality mode. I love it. It just looks great. I mean, it's not the kind of game that you need. It's not 60 frames per second. It's 30, so the speed isn't as big a deal, but it just looks beautiful. Something like Need for Speed, it's all about speed, and it's just a locked. As far as I can tell, it's just 4K, and I don't think they've done any other upgrades with that one. The other game I've been playing a lot of and tried was NBA 2K18 because it received a 4K patch, and that's probably the one I noticed the least difference with.
Really? Because that's a pretty game already too, right? Yeah,
it looks good. It was already, as far as I can tell, running pretty smoothly at 60 frames a second anyway. I did see an article that indicated that some of the textures are a little better and the shadows and stuff, but it's pretty minor with that game by comparison. There's not a dramatic difference. I mean, it still looks and runs great. I think what they said is in the neighborhood mode, there on original Xbox One, there are some frame rate slowdowns in that area because of the amount of stuff going on. Whereas on the X, it maintains its performance throughout, right? So, not a big deal, but
load times any different?
Yes, sorry, that's the other big thing. And NBA 2K is probably the one I noticed the most with the load times.
Oh, no, okay.
Some of the load times are like less than half of what they were.
Oh, that'd be nice. It can take a while to load between screens and load the game, right?
Yeah, loading into an NBA game, which would normally take a good minute.
At least.
You can watch the pre-game and stuff, but I'm finding now it's got to be 15 or 20 seconds.
Oh wow, noticeably different.
Yeah, it's a big normally I start the game and you go have a drink or check Twitter on your phone or whatever while you wait for it to load. I can't do any of that now. I start it and it's pretty quickly it's there. Loading into your My Court and stuff like that is quicker as well. So that's pretty good. I enjoy that because there's a lot of waiting for load times in that game.
Yeah.
So that notice that's improved. I think I'm seeing improved load times across the board. It's very difficult. I didn't really measure stuff, beforehand. Mm-hmm. But even like with Call of Duty, I am regularly the first player loaded into the map. Waiting for other players to join. Whereas previously, I would be, by the time the map had loaded, the round had already started, or was there's only like 5 seconds left until the round starts. So based on that, it would seem to be that that's loading a lot faster too. So that's pretty cool.
So I was going to say, speaking of noticeable differences.
Yes.
Oh, Assassin's Creed. Can we talk some Assassin's Creed
let's
real
talk
quick?
Assassin's Creed, yes.
So after 30 plus hours playing it on my crappy old 1080p screen, we booted up on 4K HDR. Now, first of all, in the Assassin's Creed settings, there is an HDR settings. Go in there, tweak a little bit, because booting that up in 4K with HDR on the Xbox One X is amazing. Like, I've gushed about the graphics before, the draw distance and things like that. But oh my god, dude! Seriously, the One X patch is phenomenal. Talking about those detailed textures, right? It is noticeable right off the bat. And because you're outside, for 99% of the game, that sun, the sunset, the sunrise, the lens flare it's so noticeable. It is gorgeous. And like I said, with the draw distances, I thought it was great when I was playing it, and then we booted up in 4K HDR, and the draw distance is even more detailed. You can make out better details
from a distance.
A distance, it was so noticeable. We said that Forza 7 is Microsoft's flagship for the Xbox One X. Well, for third-party games, Assassin's Creed Origins is your flagship for third-party games on the Xbox One X. You have got to check this out. If you've got your Xbox One X, you got a 4K TV that does HDR, get Assassin's Creed to show it off, because it is phenomenal. I cannot say enough about it. Instantly noticed a difference. Instantly.
Yeah, it's probably the most impressive game that we've tried on the console.
I think so.
Yet it is the one that shows off the best what the X is capable of. By far the best looking game. I haven't actually started playing it yet, because I'm sort of waiting till I finish Shadow of War, because they're kind of similar type games. I want to get that one finished before I play Assassin's Creed. But yeah, we booted it up just to walk through the first few areas just to look at it.
It's just stunning.
Yeah, it will melt your eyeballs.
It will.
It's so fantastic. Yeah.
Agreed.
So certainly the Xbox One X is a premium console. It's not cheap by any means. Should you run out and buy one? That's up to you. This is not like an automatic upgrade. It is for those people that want the best, that want that high resolution graphics. I question how good it is for someone without a 4K TV. I mean, on a 1080p, you do get the improved load times. You do get the better textures. Everything's just downscaled to 1080p, so stuff will still look better, but it won't really show it off. It's an upgrade. It's a pricey upgrade.
Yeah.
It's similar, like you said earlier, to upgrading your PC, right? Is this something you would want to invest in? Now, when you look at what this box can do for the price, it's a steal. I mean, it's half the price of a gaming PC, building your own gaming PC to do sort of similar performance. It's a really great package for that. Whether it's worth that upgrade price for you, you'd have to sort of decide that yourself.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because I did spend about twice as much as that on my gaming rig that I put together a year and a half ago or something like that.
Yeah.
So I built my own PC, and yeah, I mean, I spent twice as much as that than I would have done an Xbox One X. So I think if you have a 4K TV that does HDR and you're a gamer, you're insane not to have one, because why do you have a 4K TV if you don't have something to show it off, in my opinion. And as well, it's the only box out there, the only console out there that will do the Ultra HD Blu-rays, right?
Right. Well, the S will do that.
Well, the S will do that.
Yeah. But those are your only options for that. So if you've got a 4K TV, an Xbox One, even an S certainly makes a lot of sense that way. Not to take anything away from the PlayStation 4, the PS4 Pro is an awesome box as well. But the X is, it is noticeably more powerful and a beefier box. It is the most powerful console that's available, and if that's something that appeals to you like it does to me, then it's an awesome box to get and highly recommended. Well, that's all we have for this week. Please leave your comments on this video. Tell us what you like or didn't like. Last week, I know the podcast was fairly long. We actually split it up and released each of the separate segments of the podcast separately, and we'll do that again this week. Let us know if that's something that appeals to you or not. I know for some people, watching the whole thing all at once is a lot, so if you just want to watch it in sections, we've split it up that way. We give you the option. You can do either. We want your feedback. Let us know how that works for you. Also, please send in your questions. If you have questions for us about Silent Majority Gamers or anything gaming related, send them. You can email them to us, podcast@silentmajoritygamers.com. And we hope to have a mailbag section on future episodes where we can answer those questions. You can also follow us for updates on Twitter or our Facebook page, and the link for that will be in the video description. And of course, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel and tell your friends. We really appreciate the support. So, for Insomniac Matt, I'm Limey Geek. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye. This week on the podcast, I completely missed what I was saying.
It's like 4 words.
I know, and I had those 4 words. It was what was after the
those
4
4 words.
I was like, I don't know what I'm saying next.
I hate you so much right now. Couldn't do it. I hate you so much right now. Like I want to vomit in your shoes. Cue the music. I hate you so much right now. Like I want to string you up by your toes and pick your nose with a needle-nose pliers. Cue the music. I hate you so much right now. Like to the point I want to like take a Ginsu knife to your face and wear you as a funny hat. Cue the music. That one may have been too far.